Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Jayden Bryce Show / podcast, the show where we talk about the latest, hottest topics in the world of pop culture and sports. I'm your host, as always, Mr. Jayden Strickland, and I got an exciting show lined up for you guys today. It's very football heavy, but I promise you to all of my pop culture subscribers and fans out there, I might have a hefty show for you guys Friday, given a lot of news that's came out today regarding the DCU and Mr. James Gunn, because Peacemaker had their little red carpet event tonight. But we got a lot of football coming to you today. We're going to be talking about J.J. McCarthy, and pretty much I'm going to be reacting to his first game, his first preseason game from this past weekend, and his optimistic future. Then we are going to talk about the college football preseason poll, and Hook'em's already up there at number 1, just to give you a little tease. And then for all my pop culture fans, I'm going to be talking just one topic today about Mr. Ryan Reynolds potentially teasing that Deadpool might be in Avengers Doomsday. And lastly, the heavy hitter for today's show. Mr. Jerry Jones had a lot to say on the red carpet of their little Netflix show that the Dallas Cowboys has coming out. I don't know when it comes out, maybe in the coming days, I don't know. I just know they had the red carpet, and he aired out something that many fans knew for a very long time, but the media is wanting to make a big deal about it. But we're going to get into that. But guys, before we get into all that, do not hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, check out my podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Look in the link down below to check out all my other videos, and more importantly, drop a like on the podcast. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the show. Now, Mr. J.J. McCarthy is going to be our first topic of today. And I wanted to talk about J.J. McCarthy specifically because he's somebody that I've always been intrigued with. After the great performance that he put on last year in the preseason, I watched him a lot at Michigan. He had a stacked QB class. You had Drake May, you had Caleb Williams, and you had Bo Nix, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, and you had all these guys. And J.J. McCarthy was kind of the quarterback that intrigued me out of those guys because I knew those guys can play. But J.J. McCarthy was always a massive question mark for me because of his size. Didn't have the biggest arm to brag about. So going into the season last year, specifically with Minnesota, everybody was thinking, oh, will he get the job over Sam Darnold? That ended up not being true because after his first preseason game, he went on to actually tear his meniscus. He could have shaved it off and eventually play last season, but for the betterment of his long-term health, he decided to actually just go ahead and just repair it any type of way that he needed to repair. I think you take it fully out, take the meniscus fully out. So now, going into this season with Sam Darnold being gone, J.J. McCarthy has very high expectations because we know what the Vikings did last year. I think under Kevin O'Connell and the guys, I think the Vikings were 14-3. If I am not mistaken, they were either 14-3, 13-4. I know they had no more than 4 losses. And they got rid of the quarterback that led them there, the quarterback in Sam Darnold, who resurrected his career last year after being with the Jets, didn't end up doing anything. He went to the Carolina Panthers, did not do anything. Was the backup in San Francisco for a year. Then he transitioned to the Minnesota Vikings and did what he did. Now he is gone and went to Seattle. So now J.J. McCarthy has some big shoes to fill. Now I watched the game, and J.J. McCarthy only had one drive. I actually tuned in specifically for J.J. McCarthy for this game because I knew I was going to want to talk about him. But yet he only had one drive. So there wasn't a whole lot to see and to really pretty much evaluate. And here's a couple of key features that I like about J.J. McCarthy. Number one, he is not very much scared under pressure. It's the same thing I really argue with Shedeur Sanders. These guys, when the pressure is getting in their face, they do not shy away from it. They stand in the pocket, throw the ball under pressure. It's a great trait that a quarterback should have in the NFL, especially coming from college and moving to the NFL level, because if you are not able to sit in that pocket with those 300-pound linemen coming at your face, even though J.J. McCarthy is probably every bit of 215 at the most, you got to be able to stand into that pocket, throw the ball with precision and accuracy. That is something that J.J. McCarthy is actually shockingly able to do, and it's something that he has exhibited in his 2 preseason games that he has played so far. Even this past game, I know he was exceptionally well last year. This past weekend, it was a little shaky. It wasn't the best, but there was specifically with some throws under pressure that he put the ball there. It wasn't 100% accurate, but he put the ball there. And that's the most important trait that J.J. McCarthy has for me. And that's the only really positive I can say. He's mostly accurate with the football. Now, there's specifically a bootleg he had out to the left. Didn't square his body up early to Jordan Addison. It's like, I want to say it was his first pass of the game where he rolled out to his left, didn't square his body up. And, Jordan Addison had to catch the ball all the way out here when he was drifting to his right. But outside of that, he had some pretty great throws outside of that on time and on accuracy. But that is really the only good traits I've seen so far from J.J. McCarthy. He's not a tall guy. He doesn't have the best build. He has an arm, but it's not a bazooka for an arm that you would see from somebody like Drake May and even Jaden Daniels. Not power-wise, just able to get the ball down the field. I know when some people don't get it twisted. There's a difference between power and velocity. Okay? Velocity has to do with speed. Power has to do with how far the ball is going. So, J.J. McCarthy doesn't have the bazooka arm with the power to get the ball down the field. Now, velocity-wise, he throws a pretty fast ball. But that's all here or there. But those traits are something that J.J. McCarthy is going to lack. He reminds me, if I had a pro comp for J.J. McCarthy's game, I want to say, and somebody brought it up, and I think I might steal it from him, maybe a little bit of Russell Wilson. Just maybe. He doesn't have the athleticism regarding moving out of the pocket like Russell Wilson has in the NFL. Now, in college, J.J. McCarthy was on his legs a lot and utilizing his legs to get out of the pocket. So maybe it's something that we will see in the NFL. But so far from what I've seen, he hasn't had the elusiveness in the pocket like Russell Wilson has. But he throws an accurate of a ball, and he has the size. I think it's a great pro comp for Russell Wilson starting out in his career, because we know J.J. McCarthy, he is not J.J. McCarthy. As much as he can probably transcend his game as the years go by, he's not going to be the reason why you would win a ball game. I don't think he's going to get up in those upper echelon tiers of quarterbacks in the NFL. I definitely don't think he's going to reach the heights that Jaden Daniels has reached. But he can be a great game manager, which what Russell Wilson was early on in his career. And arguably, he's been that his whole entire career. A lot of people are starting to say that right now about that might be the future that Bo Nix is going to have in the NFL. He is going to be pretty much your standard game managing type quarterback. With a great head coach, you are able to potentially win a Super Bowl with that caliber level of quarterback. And J.J. McCarthy is able to do that, led by Kevin O'Connell, which to me is arguably one of my top 3 favorite coaches right now so far in the NFL. But the reason why I titled this section J.J. McCarthy Optimism, because the kid is very optimistic. Even going into last year, I thought he was the better option at quarterback than Sam Darnold. And you saw how Sam Darnold looked. And I'm waiting to see, and it is going to be very interesting to see if Sam Darnold is able to translate that success that he had in Minnesota and translate it to Seattle. I don't think he's going to be able to do it, because I think Kevin O'Connell is one of those coaches. If I'm not mistaken, Kevin O'Connell is from the Sean McVay coaching tree. So we know the type of coaching that Sean McVay has been able to do, specifically with the offensive side of the ball, and the success that he's had with Matt Stafford. He's went on to win a Super Bowl. He even took Jared Goff. Before Jared Goff actually, which you can argue Jared Goff got better again because of his offensive coordinator. He had the best offensive coordinator in the game in Ben Johnson, but he was able to take, at the time, a Jared Goff who was not considered a top 10 quarterback, maybe at scratching the surface at top 15. He took that caliber quarterback to the Super Bowl. He lost, but he faced a Tom Brady-led team and the New England Patriots, led by Bill Belichick. So I would not be shocked, and you should not be shocked, if we are going to see J.J. McCarthy take that type of leap. Now, J.J. McCarthy does not have the veteran status that Sam Darnold has had at the time. I get that. But with Kevin O'Connell's coaching, I think that Kevin O'Connell is going to put the kid in a great position. I can tell by the play calls and the scheme. He's not asking of J.J. McCarthy to do a lot. Not a whole lot. He's pretty much making everything simple. Try and run the ball, set him up for the pass, threw some screen passes here and there. I think that is what the formula is going to be for Kevin O'Connell. It's something that Kevin O'Connell is going to have to do, but because that is what killed him in the playoffs. He got a little too pass happy, which is something that Kevin O'Connell likes to do. He's a passing type of offensive coordinator. But in order to succeed for J.J. McCarthy, you cannot go out there and make J.J. McCarthy sling the ball 30-plus times. Maybe you can get him to the 30 mark and live with it and be able to see another day and maybe come out with a win. But efficiency for J.J. McCarthy is throwing the ball 35 or less times, getting maybe close to 200 yards rushing on the ground on offense that day, and let him sprinkle in his wealth that he can do. Because that is what J.J. McCarthy did in Michigan. That's why a lot of people didn't have J.J. McCarthy high on their draft stock, in their draft order. Because J.J. McCarthy, you can argue, was not the catalyst behind that offense in Michigan. It was Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards, and that O-line in Michigan, that rushing attack. I just don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be one of those guys that is going to go out there and sling it like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and be able to come out winning a ball game. You just cannot do that with J.J. McCarthy. And it's not what Russell Wilson did on the Seahawks early in his career. He had Marshawn Lynch at the time. So that is going to be the sort of playbook for success, if you would like to call it, for J.J. McCarthy. And it's going to be the most efficient option for him to be efficient in his future for the first couple of years. Now, J.J. McCarthy might end up, surprising us because... And the reason why I wanted to talk about this as well, there's been a lot of reports coming out at camp about J.J. McCarthy not looking good, the Vikings offense not looking good and being very stagnant. So after seeing this game, as a Vikings fan and as the front office of the Vikings themselves, you come out of this game, what we've seen from the very first game that we saw last year in the preseason and after what we just saw against the Texans, it's easy to be optimistic. There's a lot riding on the kid. It's great to be optimistic with him. And it is important for J.J. McCarthy to play every single preseason game. He needs as many reps as he can going into the season. Now, I do not know, and I do not currently know the Minnesota Vikings schedule. Given what's going on with not the Los Angeles Rams, because they're irrelevant because they're not in the same division. They're in division with the Green Bay Packers. I'm not in total love with the Green Bay Packers. I think Jordan Love, for me personally, is a little overrated. There's a lot of people riding on the Bears right now. I'm not going to do that until what I see from Caleb Williams this coming up weekend in preseason week 2. In the Detroit Lions, I don't know how good they're going to be, given that they've lost Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinator, and they lost their offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. So the only bright spot right now is the Minnesota Vikings, maybe. They're not really losing anybody. They really only lost Sam Darnold, and I can argue that's not that big of a loss. Justin Jefferson is still there. Jordan Addison is there, although he's going to have to serve a 3-game suspension. But Brian Flores is still there leading that defense. That defense was exceptionally well last year, and they did not lose any key pieces that I can think of. And they did that last year while losing their best pass rusher they had in Danielle Hunter. So go figure. So after what I've seen, Vikings fans should be optimistic. And I think J.J. McCarthy might be serviceable in the NFL. We're just going to have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Do you think J.J. McCarthy is going to end up being a good quarterback in this league? Do you think he could take the Vikings to the playoffs their first year in the playoffs? I want to know all of your comments down below. All right, guys. Very next topic. We are going to talk about some college football. College football actually starts 10 days from today, if I am not mistaken. And we have an absolute gauntlet for a first game with Hook'em, Texas. Now, I'm not a Texas guy, and I don't get it twisted. Versus, and this is my team, the Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm looking so much forward to this game. Now, they came out with the preseason poll. And I was very shocked to see the two teams they had ahead of Ohio State. Now, going into the season, I'm not in love with what Ohio State has going on at the quarterback position. I said the same thing about Will Howard, and they ended up winning the national championship. So who knows? I don't know how much NIL they ranked, because we know Ohio State ranked number 1 last year in NIL money. But going into the season, I don't even know who's number 1 in NIL. I think they said it was Texas, if I'm not mistaken. But we get a good look at the poll here. And I know you guys saw it in the lower third. But Texas, Penn State, and Houston, and Ohio State round out the top 3, followed by Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Bama, LSU, and Miami. To me, it's a very good top 10. I can argue is a pretty good top 25. Some teams that I'm shocked is left out is a team like USC that is not in the top 25. Even Colorado, because teams like Iowa State's in here, Texas Tech University, even Indiana. They didn't truly knock my socks off last year. So I'm really shocked for them to be in here, even Boise State. I know they won, they made it to the college football playoff last year, but it's only because of that weak conference, and they had the best running back, Heisman Trophy candidate in Ashton Jeanty. But let's get the outskirts. Let's get to the top 10, really. I am very, very shocked to see Ohio State ranked 3rd. For some reason, everybody's in love with Penn State. Their head coach, I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. He just continues to not show up against Ohio State. He does not show up against Michigan. He always comes third fiddle to those teams. So if you cannot beat those teams, how do I expect you come to college football playoff to beat an SEC team like Texas, like Georgia, like even Alabama? Even though Alabama has got a lot to show me under Kalen DeBoer in their second year. But I do not understand the love session with Penn State. Drew Aller, he's okay. I don't think he's a great quarterback at all. Even coming into this next, quarterback class, I would not have Drew Aller at the top for me. But I'm shocked to see them. Now, obviously with Texas, Arch Manning. Arch Manning is the reason behind this, because even though Arch Manning is young and he's only played, 3 games so far in the 2 years he's been at Texas, Arch Manning, you can argue, is the best quarterbacks right now in college football. After the little bit we've seen, granted it wasn't against the best competition, he's better than Drew Aller. He's better than anything Ohio State has. He's better than Cade Klubnik from Clemson, who I think is someone who is going to be massively overrated going into this next year's draft. He's definitely better than Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier, whoever they're going to have at Bama. So that is the reason why they're number 1. And he's led by one of the best coaches in college football. And I think he might now be the highest paid coach in college football, Steve Sarkisian. Nick Saban coaching tree. Great offense every year so far that he's been at Texas. So that is the reason why I would not be shocked. I'm not shocked internally why they're number 1. I just do not understand why Penn State is very high at where they're at. And another team that I'm shocked as well that is very high is Clemson. Cade Klubnik. And Clemson is a team that I watch because they come on in the afternoon time most of the time. It's a team that's local to me. Obviously, I'm in the Carolinas. But it is just a team for me that I do not understand why a lot of people in the college, the word's not coming to, the committee, pretty much. I don't understand why the Associated Press and the committee at the Associated Press come out with this. Cade Klubnik, he leaves a lot to be desired. He is a roller coaster. He is a roller coaster. That is something that you do not need in a college quarterback. You can deal with it in the NFL. You just cannot deal with it in college for me. Dabo Swinney doesn't want to utilize the NIL, so he is going to be behind the 8 ball already because in today's game, we just saw it with Ohio State. They had the number one NIL money spent, and it got them a natty. Dabo's got to get with the times. So his recruiting class is going to have to carry him, and I don't see that doing that, ranking them number 4. Georgia, don't know what they're doing at quarterback position, but defensively, they're always going to be Georgia, and offensively, they're just going to do enough to get by, led by their defense. So that's the Georgia way. And everything else seems to be pretty good. Another team that I'm looking forward to seeing is see if Alabama is going to be able to bounce back under Kalen DeBoer. Obviously, they missed the college football playoff last year. Again, I'm going to get on my high horse again. I do think they should have been in over SMU. It was absolute travesty. Line up Alabama and SMU. Alabama was going to absolutely wreck them out of the water. But that was just my personal opinion. I thought Alabama got robbed. But they lost that big game to Vanderbilt. You just can't lose that game. I don't care if Vanderbilt's on the uprise, but you cannot lose against Vanderbilt. That is an absolute no-no. You just can't lose against Vanderbilt. And with the college football playoff, you have more games that you can lose. And I think Alabama ended up losing 3 games. I cannot quite remember who the teams were. They even almost lost to Auburn. I want to say I know they lost to Vanderbilt. Is it they lost to Oklahoma? I think is who they lost to. Yeah, they lost to Oklahoma, and they lost to another team, but I don't remember. I think Oklahoma was like their last loss that they faced, and that eventually got them out. And another team that I would be interested to look into is South Carolina. Lenore Sellers, one of the big quarterback prospects going into his last year. I think it's going to his 3rd year, so he'd have another year eligibility. But more than likely, if he plays well this season, he is going to go ahead and solidify his name into this upcoming NFL draft in 2026. So overall, looking forward to next Saturday. We got an absolute gem for game 1 of the, week 0, pretty much, that they like to call it in college football. Got a great game for essentially it's technically the first week of the college football season, but it's technically week 0. I'm going to be tuned in, and I promise you, I'm going to be giving my live reaction. Well, sorry, not my live reaction, but my reaction when the game is over. So what do you guys think? Do you like the poll that the Associated Press came up with going into the 2025-2026 season of college football? Is your favorite team on there? If your favorite team is not out on there, I know all of you USC fans have a big issue with this list, and I can arguably be with you. I want to know all of your comments down below. All right, guys. Let's move on into our next topic. We want to transition away from sports just for this second. So, I was essentially minding my business, okay, on the Twitter world, and scrolling, and I see Mr. Ryan Reynolds. He posted something on Instagram, okay. He posted this. If I'm not mistaken, I didn't look it up to make sure. I saw this Instagram post yesterday. I did not know if it had a caption or not, so I'm not going to sit here and say that it did or didn't. But as we can see, over the original and standard Avengers logo, he has a A with a red marker around it, giving his own original Avengers type logo. Looks like something that Deadpool would definitely do. So, now I know there's been reports, and I saw exactly where John Campea actually talked on his show today, where he essentially was like, okay, this wasn't actually what it seemed to be. Ryan Reynolds was not teasing Deadpool coming back in Avengers Doomsday. But we're not here to argue that. I had this show written up well before I received that. Now, I didn't do a background check and fact check that. But we're just going to sit here and act like there's a possibility because it's the point of my topic. Okay. First of all, Deadpool being in Avengers Doomsday would be one of the smartest things that Marvel has done in a while. We know since the end of Avengers Endgame, they have not made a lot of smart decisions. And there's a long list of those unsmart decisions. And I can argue one that they just had is possibly delaying the release date of Fantastic Four from Superman. You can argue it. We're not going to go down that road. But I have, and I don't know a lot of people in the community has. There is people that has fussed about there being no type of juice going into this next Avengers movie. It's the Avengers. And I said this in a couple of podcasts ago. Going into the very first Avengers movie, there was hype. Captain America, the first movie, Captain America's in the middle of Times Square. Where you been? Son, it's been a long time, leading up to the very next Avengers movie. Avengers Ultron. Let's not get started with Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Those movies had an exceptional amount of hype leading up to those films. And I made this comment, and I'm going to say it again. This has been the most bland and dry lead up to a Marvel movie yet to date. Specifically an Avengers movie. Now, we've had thuds like the Marvels, maybe even Thunderbolts even, that you could possibly point out where it's like, who cares? But with an Avengers movie, we're talking about a franchise of movie. Not a franchise, but a series of movies in a franchise. A headliner in the Marvel Universe, such as an Avengers movie. Movies that have made $1 billion a piece. One of them, I think, even reached the $2 billion mark. And yet, going into one of those movies, out of the four's made $1 billion. I said it in the last show, this might be the first one where they're not going to reach $1 billion mark. And I said they would be glad to even get to the 800 million mark. So that alone, and I got that pretty much conclusion that you could say, or what's the term that I want to use? I got that hypothesis even that you could say, because it's not 100% factual, because it's a claim I'm trying to make. Because of the very stale lineup that you have at the moment leading up to this film. And I wrote it down when I was talking about it. Outside of Thor and the Fantastic Four and maybe the OG X-Men, we don't even know what they're going to do with them. What is there to get you excited for this film? Who knows how much Thor is going to be in there? Who knows how much Fantastic Four is going to be in there? I think Fantastic Four is going to be a vital component to the story. But out of all of those, even Thor, I love Thor to death. And even the OG X-Men. Because I don't know what type of capacity they're going to be in this movie. But none of them would have a bigger draw than Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool. Ladies and gentlemen, Deadpool and Wolverine has been Marvel's only billion-dollar movie since Endgame. You can fact check me on that. I may be wrong, but I can promise you I'm got to be 100% right. Deadpool and Wolverine is the last movie for Marvel, and the only movie for Marvel since Endgame to do $1 billion. Now, after I'm saying that, and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm 100% wrong, because that movie was actually No Way Home. So, since No Way Home, so 2021. Instead of 2019, let's just transition 2 years. Since Spider-Man No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine has been the only film to hit $1 billion. Out of how many movies there's been, let's sit here and think. We just had Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, The Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which was actually a very good movie. I want to say that's it. Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness. That's another one that we didn't think about. So that is pretty much it off the top of my head. So out of all those movies, none of those have made $1 billion. Granted, with those titles, those characters, it's easy to see why they didn't even make $1 billion. But a lot of those movies didn't. I don't even think they were close to even cracking the 500 mark. And we know that Fantastic Four possibly might be that first movie to crack the 500 million mark. We're just going to have to wait and see, because even right now they're saying that there's a possibility that Fantastic Four might fall short of $500 million at the 490 range, which would be an absolute travesty. But that's another topic for another day. But putting Deadpool in this movie, that alone might give you an extra $100 million, 150, maybe even north of $200 million. I promise you. When people know and see in that teaser trailer that Deadpool is in this movie, there's people that more than likely is going to be clamoring into the theater just to see that. And I understand that Deadpool and Wolverine was this movie that was filled with nostalgia. Got Hugh Jackman coming back playing Wolverine. He's got the comic accurate yellow suit on, something that we have never seen in Hugh Jackman when it was teased in the 2013 Wolverine movie. At the end of the movie, in the plane, when he opened the mask, I will never understand to this day why we have never, since the transition from 20th Century Fox to Marvel, why we were never able to see that from 20th Century Fox. But I digress. So it is a no-brainer for me. And a no-brainer for Marvel to try and include Deadpool in some way, form, or fashion. The old school X-Men are going to be there, so why not have another member of the X-Men? And why not possibly have not Ryan Reynolds, but Hugh Jackman come back to play Wolverine? Because OG Cyclops is going to be there. Charles Xavier is going to be there. Professor X. OG Magneto. Can I have OG Wolverine? It's just, I think that's a smart idea. Now, and this is something that I can say because Marvel has openly stated that they're not finished with the script of the movie, but yet we've known for the last 2 months now that they are currently filming the movie. Heck, we just got news as of this week or like late last week that Pedro Pascal has finished filming his lines for the movie and filming his scenes. And yet they're currently still writing the movie. So I think Marvel is pretty much possibly doing some damage control behind the scenes because of what they've seen with Thunderbolts do in the box office and now what they're seeing with Fantastic Four. I would not be surprised if Kevin Feige picked up the phone with Ryan Reynolds and said, Ryan, I need you. I won't be surprised if we see that with some other people. Chris Evans, I need you. Hugh Jackman, I need you. Scarlett Johansson, I need you. So I wrote this down. I don't think Deadpool was even part of the original script for this movie. I really don't. And I know they are currently writing this movie as they go. But I promise you, I do not think at all that Deadpool was originally part of the script for this movie. Because there was an interview that came out with Kevin Feige, and it was from possibly four weeks ago from now, to where Kevin Feige was like, yeah, I'm currently talking with Ryan and, Hugh Jackman for them to eventually come back in wave form or capacity in the Marvel Universe. Obviously, I know they're more than likely going to be in Secret Wars if they are not in Doomsday. But Kevin Feige might be waving the white flag, be like, man, I just need all the help I can get. Because Deadpool can get you an easily extra 150 to 200 million. I think it's easy enough to say that. Well, could that be good enough to go from 800 million possibly to get you to the billion mark? I don't know. It's all hands on deck for this film at this point. You are laying some goose eggs on top of goose eggs on top of goose eggs since No Way Home. And you are in the danger zone of becoming the first Avengers movie to not be able to hit $1 billion. Because I promise you right now, if Spider-Man did not come out, and I made this argument when I talked about Spider-Man a couple of shows ago. I said that Spider-Man coming out before Endgame, before Doomsday, is probably the best thing that could happen for this movie. And we know that Marvel actually has no ties in that. That has all to do with Sony. So Sony actually placed, originally Spider-Man was supposed to release after Doomsday. So that's the reason why we thought that Spider-Man wasn't even going to be in the film. So now that Marvel has delayed Doomsday to after the release of Spider-Man Brand New Day, I don't know if they're cooking up a final end credit scene for Spider-Man to be in Doomsday. That is the only thing that I could see a reason why they might be able to crack $1 billion. Just might. I don't know. It's just a hypothesis. But if Spider-Man Brand New Day is good, then there might be a reason why. But again, you're coming off Fantastic Four. You're coming off of Thunderbolts. Straight duds. Straight goose eggs. Not good enough. And you're leading that up into an Avengers Doomsday Avengers movie with the Doctor Doom character that we've had no experience with so far out of the, and I know this is a spoiler, but darn it, you've got to have seen Fantastic Four by now. And I know many of you have possibly watched my movie review. But maybe that was, and supposedly they said it was Robert Downey Jr. supposed to be in the end credit scene at the end of Fantastic Four. That's the only time we've seen Doomsday. So why, as a fan, would I be excited to go see Avengers Doomsday at the moment? Me, as a consumer and as a fan, I'm just very excited to go see it because I haven't seen Chris Hemsworth's Thor in almost 5 years. And when I last saw him, I did not enjoy that movie at all. I'm interested to see the OG X-Men, specifically Cyclops. They're supposed to have some comic accurate suits on. I'm excited for that. And then maybe the Fantastic Four. I'm just interested to see how they get from their world and get to the current universe that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is currently being held in, vice versa. I don't know. That's the only thing that's interesting me into going to go see this film. But for a modern audience who is an average moviegoer, should they be intrigued to go put a butt in a seat and spend north of possibly $17 on a movie ticket on a weekend? They've left me nothing. So I think putting Deadpool in this movie is a no-brainer type of marketing move. But I digress. What do you guys think? Should Deadpool be in this movie? I think he should, without a shadow of a doubt. Do you think he was originally in the script? Do you even think that this tease by Ryan Reynolds is true? He may be talking about Secret Wars. We're just going to have to wait and see. I want to know all of your comments down below. All right, guys, let's transition into some sports. We're going into our very last topic of the show. Thank you guys for listening. It's another nightcap tonight. I know it's late. I know a lot of my viewers is probably sitting there like, Jayden, what is going on with you doing all these late shows? I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm very energized. For some reason, my mind is just, everything's flowing right now at this time of the night. I'm not drowsy, not tired. I'm pumped up, ready to go. And I'm ready to talk about these topics with you guys. But very last topic is my headliner for the show. Mr. Jerry Jones. The money man, Jerry. Love the guy. Look. We know that Jerry Jones, us Cowboys fans, we know that the Dallas Cowboys has been Jerry Jones' personal toy. We know it. We knew that Jerry Jones did not care about winning games. He only cared about the money that he was flowing in. But we've never heard it come straight out of his mouth. I have the clip here. And we, ladies and gentlemen, are going to react to this together. Mm-hmm.
Well, I do believe if we're not being looked at, then I'll do my part to get us looked at. The beautiful thing for networks or, if you will, streaming companies is that the NFL is a 365-day-a-year interest factor. A lot of programming, you have to spend as much to make it, to promote it, as you do to make it. The Cowboys are a soap opera 365 days.
The streaming will begin
When it gets slow,
momentarily.
I'll start it up.
Please take your seats.
And so it's wonderful to have the great athletes, have the great players. But there's something more there. There's sizzle, there's emotion. And if you will, there's controversy. That controversy is good stuff in terms of keeping and having people's attention. Well,
there's a lot that I massively disagree with in this clip, and I'm just trying to sit here and just remember all the stupidity that just came out of this man's mouth, specifically at the end when he's talking about controversy is good. No, it's not, Jerry Jones. Controversy is not good for the football team. It's not good for the locker room. It's not good for the self-esteem of the players. Don't you think it is probably just draining for them as players of your team, knowing that there's something stupid coming out of your mouth on a weekly basis? That they are getting talked about in the media 24/7? I know you love the headlines. You love the stardom. Does your players? I don't think a lot of them do. I don't think Dak Prescott enjoys his name getting talked about weekly on the show. When I ain't heard nothing about Brock Purdy in a God knows how long. Jordan Love, even Caleb Williams, with all of the controversy that's been going on with him in the offseason, haven't hardly heard about him either. Jayden Daniels. The only quarterback I can really say that I've heard right now on a pretty consistent basis is Jalen Hurts. And maybe Patrick Mahomes. Number one, Jalen Hurts, because all the controversy behind Jalen Hurts and everybody arguing, that Jalen Hurts is not the reason why the Eagles have been successful and things of that nature. It's a beat the dead horse. Same thing with conversation we have with Jalen Hurts. But outside of that, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys has been part of the conversation. Michael Parsons, what we're doing with right now, contract. So this man, Jerry Jones, even though we already know that it's true, it's just the principle of it. The man openly admitted that he loves the attention. Even when he's not getting it, he's going to find a way to get it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is narcissistic behavior. He's narcissistic because he doesn't care to win. If you guys didn't see the latest numbers for the highest, most valuable franchises going into this season, guess who's number one again? It's the Dallas Cowboys. No shock there, $12.8 billion. $2 billion above everybody else. That's what Jerry Jones cares about. Because Jerry Jones is printing money. He's getting the benefits of it on the back end. He's owning the team. Gets into the games for free. And while he's sitting there watching the game, he's printing out dollars. Ain't no telling how much money Jerry Jones is making in a minute. But what are us fans getting out of this? I'm waiting. Tell me. Chat. I'm waiting. What are the fans getting out of the Cowboys being the highest valuable franchise in the league? I'm still waiting. Nothing. We get nothing. We're not seeing that money. Out of that $12 billion, what we seeing? Nothing. I know me. And I know others. We have to pay to even watch you guys because we are not in Texas. Sometimes you're not even on live television. We're buying your merchandise. I got a Michael Parsons jersey. I got a CeeDee Lamb jersey. If anything, we're losing money trying to watch you. And yet, for the past 30 years, and counting, we've been constantly disappointed. Given this hope of it's our year. But no, it's not. We're just continuing to be let down. There's many moves that can be made. But yet Jerry Jones never wanted to make those moves. Hasn't made a big splash since Deion Sanders. So what, George Pickens? Yeah, you can argue it's probably been the second best trade that he's done. Maybe Amari Cooper. But he only done those because, it was just such a desperate move at that point because the wide receiving core was so bad back in 2019. Cole Beasley. I love Cole Beasley. Thank you for everything that you done for us. You were a very good wide receiver given your height. But come on. Cole Beasley being your number one wide receiver. My gosh. Of course you needed to trade for Amari Cooper. And this year, CeeDee Lamb and a bag of chips. Jalen Tolbert, absolutely garbage. And I actually had an interaction with a fan on Twitter as of yesterday or today. Jalen Tolbert shouldn't even make the team this year. I think Trayshawn Holden could possibly be a better option. Ryan Flournoy. Heck, even Jalen Brooks. I just don't think Jalen Tolbert's got it. Kudos to Jalen Tolbert. He made a pretty good catch at the end of the Steelers game last year. Whoop-de-doo. I don't care. The guy's just not good. He doesn't have it. So you had to go get a guy like George Pickens because CeeDee Lamb has nobody. CeeDee Lamb and a bag of chips. And I think Ryan Flournoy, Jalen Brooks, they're actually pretty decent. They're serviceable, but they're not wide receiver twos. So you had no choice but to get George Pickens. So outside of that, what big blockbuster trade has Jerry Jones made to help the team? Deion? 30 years ago? What big free agent splash has he had to help the team? I don't know. You ask me. I'm used to the Philadelphia Eagles pretty much getting everybody shoot. They got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, drafted Cooper DeJean, signed Saquon Barkley, the best running back in the league at the moment. When is the last time the Dallas Cowboys has signed, keyword signed, outside of their own room? When is the last time that the Dallas Cowboys has signed a free agent in the caliber of Saquon Barkley? And they got Saquon Barkley at a bargain, but they recently just gave the man a contract extension, making him one of the highest paid running back in the league. And he was very much deserving so. Well, what move has Jerry Jones done? Jerry Jones wants everything done his way. Because Jerry Jones wants the credit. And I'm going to steal this from Shannon Sharp because he keeps saying it every single year. Jerry Jones could have kept Jimmy Johnson. There's no reasons for Jimmy Johnson to have got fired. Jimmy Johnson was coming off winning 3 Super Bowls. 3. What head coach with a right mind, not even head coach, what GM owner in their right mind would fire a coach who got off of winning 3 Super Bowls? He fired Jimmy Johnson because Jimmy Johnson wasn't running the team the way Jerry wanted it to be run. Jerry Jones wanted the credit, and he did not get the credit. So that's the reason why he ultimately moved on away from Jimmy Johnson. Again, a head coach who won you 3 Super Bowls. A Super Bowl itself, one, is hard to do. Ask the Kansas City Chiefs. Suffering until Patrick Mahomes just came. Nowadays, he's got 3 Super Bowls. Do you see him cutting Patrick Mahomes? Do you see him getting rid of Andy Reid? No. And this was way before my time, but I'm stealing this information from other people. Imagine how many Super Bowls Dallas could have won if Jimmy Johnson didn't get fired. Last time I checked, Troy Aikman was like 28. Going on, I don't even think Troy Aikman was 30 yet. Ladies and gentlemen, how old is Patrick Mahomes? I think Patrick Mahomes just turned 30. Just turned 30. Let me make sure. He's fixing to be 30 years old next month. Imagine the Kansas City Chiefs right now getting rid of Andy Reid. After they've been to, 6 of the last 7 Super Bowls? 5 of the last 6? One of the 2? And just the Hunt family giving Andy Reid his walking papers. Yeah, man, you're not good enough. You won 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls, but yeah, you're not good enough. Well, 3 of the last 5. Makes no sense to me. But Jerry Jones did it 30 years ago. Troy Aikman, still in his prime. Michael Irvin, still in his prime. Emmitt Smith, still in his prime. But yet, Jerry Jones just said, you know what, Jimmy Johnson, thank you, sir, for your 3 Super Bowls. Kick rocks. I want the credit. I'm the one who drafted Troy Aikman. I drafted Emmitt Smith. I drafted Michael Irvin. I put the team together. I traded for Dion. Charles Haley. Drafted Big Larry Allen, one of the best guards of all time. I put that team together. But Jerry Jones wasn't getting the credit. Jerry wasn't getting the credit. So that's the reason why I got rid of Jimmy Johnson. And you've seen the repercussions for it. It's Jerry Jones would rather want the credit, want the fame, the notoriety, than win football games. You can't have them both, Jerry. Go ask the Philadelphia Eagles. Is Jalen Hurts worried about him being talked about every week? No. Does the GM for the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm trying to think of his name right now. For some reason, I can't think of his name right now. Does he want the attention? No. Jeffrey Lurie, owner of the Philadelphia Eagles. Does he want the fame and notoriety? Does he want all the credit for winning that past Super Bowl they just got? No. The GM gets it. And I'm just to look up this man's name because I don't know why I should know this like the back of my hand as much as I talk about him. Howie Roseman. Jesus Christ. Does Howie Roseman want all the credit for assembling that roster that he did for winning that Super Bowl? No. I ain't heard nothing from Howie Roseman. I think the last time I've heard from Howie Roseman was when they had their championship at the end of the game. Post-game microphone. I ain't heard from Howie Roseman. I ain't seen nothing from him. Same thing for Jeffrey Lurie. Outside of him arguing at the team meetings, having a whole hissy fit over the tush-push getting man. It's the only thing I've heard from the Eagles. How about the Hunt family? Won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls. I ain't heard from Mr. Hunt at all. Patrick Mahomes. I ain't heard nothing from him. Even going into this, even these past couple years with these Super Bowls and the Kansas City Chiefs has been winning. I've not seen Andy Reid be in the news. Nobody in the Hunt family. Even Patrick Mahomes. Only thing that's been in the news for Patrick Mahomes and the guys is Rashee Rice doing stupid stuff off the field. Same thing with Xavier Worthy. That's it. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. If it weren't for Taylor Swift these last 2 years in the NFL, the Kansas City Chiefs wouldn't even be in the news like they would. But it's just a Taylor Swift effect. That just comes with it. But yet, with the Taylor Swift effect, they've won a Super Bowl. So they can deal with it. The Cowboys have not shown you that they've been able to deal with it. They haven't got out of the darn second round of the playoffs. But Jerry wants all the fame and notoriety. Out of all those recent Super Bowl winners, we can go down the line. Kansas City Chiefs, I ain't heard nothing from them in the news at all. Owner, any type of branch of ownership so far in the front office, ain't heard from them. Kansas City Chiefs, ain't heard nothing from them. Outside of Taylor Swift, is a part of the front office. Los Angeles Rams, ain't heard from them. The Bucks, at the time when Tom Brady didn't win the Super Bowl, ain't heard from them. Jerry Jones just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. The Cowboys are his toy. Is his toy. He does whatever he wants to do with it. So he is saying, screw you, fans. Saying, screw you right in our face. He does not care if they win. The Cowboys could go 12-4. Sorry, 12-5 rather. 13-4. Heck, even 13-4, 14-3. At the end of the day, that check's still bouncing. If they go 9-8, 8-9, 7-10, 6-11, 4-13, check's still bouncing. Us fans don't get that money, Jerry. We're not seeing the satisfaction from winning or losing. Because either way, if we win or lose, we're not getting the ultimate satisfaction, which is winning playoff games, seeing our team get to the dance. You know how aggravating it is to see every other team but our own in dance? 49ers fans, yeah, they're crying and boohooing and crying because they ain't won a Super Bowl, but darn, at least they got there. Packers fans, Aaron Rodgers sell them short, but darn, at least they got to the NFC Championship game and had a shot. We can't even get a shot to get there. We can't even get to the if game, what if game. I want to get to the what if game. You know how many times I've said to a friend, guys, if we even go to the NFC Championship game, I'm a happy man. You know how many other fans would say that? Get to the NFC Championship and lose? Ask a 49ers fan what they'd do if they went to NFC East game and lose. They'd cry. What about a Rams fan? They'd cry. Any type of winning organization, Green Bay Packers, they'd cry. Us Cowboys fans, we'll be happy. We'll probably throw a celebration. 30-year curse, uplifted. It'll be a most glorious day. But Jerry Jones is the kingpin. Why worry about winning when the check's still bouncing? That's where we're at with the Dallas Cowboys. This is his personal toy, and he's going to run it however he wants to run it. Mr. Denzel Washington, he was on First Take yesterday, and Stephen A. and the crew, the producers, which I wasn't shocked that they did, asked him, what do you think of the Dallas Cowboys? Denzel said it plain and simple. All money ain't good money, Jerry. Because the game of football is about winning. They made a Lombardi trophy because of that. They made the Super Bowl because of that. If there wasn't no point in winning in sports, there wouldn't be sports. Sports wasn't derived off money, Jerry. The money came with the popularity. You're making money off of the audience. That's how you make money. Sports is entertainment. Entertainment is only making revenue off of audiences. AKA your audience's Cowboys fans. Heck, even fans who are not fans of the Dallas Cowboys. They tune into your game on Sunday, Monday, and Thursday. So instead of worrying about just getting dollars off of us, actually have some consideration and care for us wanting to win a Super Bowl. There's so many Cowboys fans around the world who are just dying to just see a member of the Dallas Cowboys hold up the Lombardi trophy. But yet, under the Jones family and the whole regime, we do not feel like in any form, way, or fashion that is ever going to happen. I wholeheartedly believe this. Even 2 years ago, I gave up hope. I felt like that year when Dak was in the MVP race, and heck, even the year before that, when we beat Tampa Bay in the playoffs, took Tom Brady home. I'm like, dude, this is the best chance they're ever going to have. Throw it out the window. The year before that, number 1 seed, get a home playoff game. You got 2 home playoff games. Wild card round and division round. 2nd seed in the whole playoff in the NFC. Threw it away. I ultimately came to the conclusion that under the Jones family, unless we get new leadership from the top all the way down, nothing is ever going to change. and the curse, and I don't even believe in curses. But the streak of 30 years of not making it to a Super Bowl or an NFC Championship game will continue to thrive as long as the Jones family are a part or associated with the Dallas Cowboys. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have to say about that. I'm not giving Jerry Jones more of my time because I'm just beating a dead horse here. Whatever I say, knowing he's never going to hear it, but he's hearing it from other people in the media, is going to go one ear and out of the other because he's narcissistic. He's going to do whatever he wants. What do you guys think? Do you think Jerry Jones was right to just openly admit to what us fans already knew? Do you think Jerry Jones is wrong? Should Jerry Jones continue to be the owner of the Dallas Cowboys? I want to know all of your comments down below. And ladies and gentlemen, that concludes tonight's show. I thank you guys for joining me as always. Be on the lookout, all of my pop culture fans, for the next show because it should be very pop culture heavy given all the news that has came out today regarding the DCU, and obviously for my sports fans as well. We're going to be talking some more football come Friday. But and I might even delay the show. I might do 2 more shows. I might do a Saturday show reacting to some of the playoff games. We'll just have to wait to see. But I will definitely see you guys on Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for joining me. Do not hesitate to hit the like button on the podcast. Follow my podcast on Spotify Podcasts and Apple Podcasts if you would like to listen again without having to have the phone out and looking at my ugly face. Do not hesitate as well to look down below in the links and check out all my other videos when it comes to trailer reactions, sports commentary, pop culture commentary, and any repost from the show. Those are all located down below in my description. Comment down below if you guys are enjoying the show. I want to thank you guys for the continued support, the watch time, everything else. It's going up. I just hopefully one day that I'll have a guest with me and things of that nature. I'm working on that. Especially going on to the football season, I would love to have somebody on with me to talk with you guys. And 2, one day we're going to have a studio. Okay, we're going to be shooting this professionally instead of a bedroom. But one day, we just got to grind out right now, guys, and hopefully that's a bright future we all get to look forward to down the road. But again, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I love you guys so much. Be safe. Have a good night. And I will see you guys Friday. Peace, love, and positivity always, y'all. See you.
It's not a game.